Aging is an art. Your future deserves a blueprint. Welcome to Graceful Aging by Design. Having to care for a loved one with dementia is never easy. As you see the person you know become someone unfamiliar, and that the shared memories begin to fade away, but you still love them and care for them. So what do we face that? Today, we're going to dive more into care for a loved one with dementia. And we're happy to have Karen Tyrell again to join us to share more about, from the caregiver's perspective, how to help our loved one.
Mm-hmm. So Karen, today we're talking about the how. How do we help the caregivers manage? I'm sure it can't be easy caring for a loved one who has dementia, Alzheimer's, or some of the other dementia, conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is a devastating feeling, I think, for not only the individual, but for the families. And the families may not realize what their journey will look like, because it's going to be different for everyone.
Right.
It depends on the person. It depends on their type of dementia, their stage of dementia, their abilities, their disabilities. Going down that journey will always be different. But the key thing that will stay the same is that those families will not be able to do this alone. Families will need help in this, what we call the dementia journey. Right away, to build up the supports is what I really think is valuable. Build up the supports by learning what's available in your community, whether it is your local Alzheimer Society, whether it is a nonprofit organization that does help older adults. Learn about the government supports, learn about the for-profit supports. Just start to learn for your journey ahead. And building the supports could also be with immediate family members, like cousins or, aunts or uncles, or who else can be an ear, like a friend. Or, some people are into their church. Some people will reach out to support groups that is like a peer support of other family caregivers on the journey. And to me, that is a powerful one, because I've been facilitating caregiver support groups for many, many years now, and I see the value that brings. So again, that's part of pulling all your supports together and having them to lean on during times of uncertainty, worry, new changes. There's going to be a lot of emotions that will take place.
Yeah. So where do they start in terms of an action plan? So let's say they've been caring for someone, they've just got diagnosed, they've got Alzheimer's. Now what should caregivers be looking for and start doing?
Well, learning the individual's abilities and disabilities to try to, they're not cleaning the dishes very well, or maybe we'll get some home support to do the vacuuming and the cleaning. So whether it's through a government support or a private agency to bring in the home support, or if it's getting them to their appointments and helping find an organization that can help them get to their appointments, or delegate within the family to get to their medical appointments, because that's going to be a busy part of it. But the cooking and maybe bringing in food, whether it's a family member cooks enough for a couple of days and puts them in the containers in the freezer, or it's a organization that brings in frozen meals that they just need to use the microwave for in the earlier stages. So just, I guess, learning about their abilities, and then we fill in the gaps for that individual, because we want them to live independently for as long as they possibly can.
Right.
We don't want to harp over the individual right away. Well, you have dementia, we have to do everything for you. No. We want them to have as much independence and autonomy. Families could even look into distant monitoring with technology. Like some people put the ring on the door to find out who's coming and going, so that they're not worried about their loved one being scammed or, taken advantage of. Some people will put in sensors in their home. There's an amazing Vancouver-based company that has these sensors where the caregiver can get on their smartphone. Mom just opened the door for the fridge, or mom or dad just opened the back door. I wonder why at 2:00 in the morning, what's going on? We can get notifications and sleep sensors to help them understand how they're sleeping at night, to keep them there for as long as possible. So trying to balance that autonomy versus safety, but at the same time, that family member should be getting those supports. One thing I didn't mention is counselors. Maybe there's a counseling service that can also help them with the emotions, because there's going to be lots of sadness, grief. Every stage of the journey, grief will pop in. Like now they're sad that they no longer can do this, or they're no longer going golfing because that's their passion, and now they can't golf anymore. And so the family's going to have lots of grieving for many things, but also guilt. And that's the big G word, is guilt. And guilt of, am I doing enough? Or should I be putting them into a care home? Or, there's so many aspects to the guilt thing that we want families to get through this journey with the least amount of scarring, I call it. Like, we don't want them to be scarred from this entire journey. So for me, I do have my top 3 survival tips, if I can share them. So the top one is taking breaks. Families will need break time if they are constantly a caregiver, because as things progress, an individual may need constant monitoring, not leaving the stove on, taking their meds. They have to be watching. And that can be very hard. But taking their breaks is very, very important. Time off, I call it the me time. They need to carve that out of their day, me time. And I hope the slice of their me time pie is a little bit larger than this, because we need to give everybody their really good me time. So take breaks. Number 2, talk it out. So again, like I mentioned, talking it out, whether it's a support group, whether it's professionals that can understand, friends, family, but also people like myself and my company as dementia consultants. We offer that with our services. So talking it out, very important. Number 3, never stop learning. You will need to learn after things are changing. Now, I didn't know there was this service that they can have the sleep monitoring, or I didn't know that there's these bracelets and there's devices we can use for tracking, or I didn't know that these things I can say to her to calm her down in the moment, such as, you have to get to work. Oh, but today's Sunday, even though it's not Sunday. There's what I call therapeutic reasoning. So families need to learn these techniques, learn the strategies, learn about what's in their community, learn about their government supports. There's so much to learn, so much. So never stop learning, and you will be able to, if you keep those 3 things in mind the entire journey, you will survive better.
Is there any success stories that you experience, or some cases you can share that, so people are aware that when we using those scripts or those tools, how can they help their loved one?
Okay, so just before I came here, I had a text message from one of my clients. He's been caring for his wife, helped him and her move gently and successfully into a retirement living, because she felt as though she had anosognosia. I'm very fine. I don't need to move out of my house, but she's not cooking. She's not cleaning. The weight is on him. His health was starting to decline. He needed more supports. So he wanted to move into a retirement living and thought, can we even do this? So we used therapeutic reasoning that they're just staying there temporarily until their house gets fixed. There's a problem. So moving her in, I was there that day when they moved in, and the amazing work that the organizers did to downsize them and put them in with all their belongings into this place. And she didn't understand. And she was confused for the first few maybe weeks in which we expected it. So I said, expect this. But it's been now over 3 months.
Oh, nice.
And she's settled in gently, calmly, happy, no fighting, yelling, I want to go home, because the husband was instructed, yes, dear, we will be going home as soon as our house is fixed, but we're staying here for now. And then she was able to sleep. So that is just one story that I'm so happy we used the right techniques. He used me to rely on for his emotional support, asking the questions, what do I say now, what do I do, and learning as he went along. And now they're living happily. And actually today, though, there's a bathing challenge that a lot of people with dementia experience. And now, after the 3 months, now this is a new problem. So again, on the journey, there's always something new to learn. And he learned that she's very shy, and having the worker from the government come and give her her shower was distressing her, and she was refusing. Well, I showed him something online where you can get on Amazon, where it's like a terry cloth type of robe that has sleeveless, and it can be put on her before she goes into the bathroom, and and today it worked. She sat on a chair, and the health worker cleaned her while this robe was on her in the shower. It got wet, but the towel came to wrap her up because it was too wet and heavy now. But it was helpful so she can have her modesty and privacy. And now he's just very pleased that this idea he never knew of, these terry cloth robes, have worked.
Oh, that's amazing. Because quick question, the residential community that they ended up going to, was it memory care? No, so it doesn't have to have memory care.
Living. Retirement living, because he's the primary caregiver. But he knows he has to take his breaks, and he has to talk it out and to keep learning. And so he's doing that with me. Wonderful. And we found him a person who takes her now on outings to go for coffee, and he has a break.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So beyond the daily communication with our loved one, what other tools do we have to keep, as a caregiver, to keep in peace?
So we mentioned at the previous episode, we need to understand the reason for the behavior, because there will be behaviors. There will be things like repeating the same question, refusing care, becoming easily agitated, becoming more anxious, maybe even physical aggression, wandering, paranoia. All of these are very common with dementia care. So families need to learn those techniques. So first off, understanding the reason for the behavior, because there's always a reason.
Yes.
Any dementia-related behavior, there's a reason. So uncover the reason why, become the detective, gather the facts, Ph.A.C.T.S, physical, ask them, is it a concern, is it a trigger, or is it the environment? So S, scan your environment. Once you uncover the reason why, then we move on to step 2. And step 2, it's putting our creative hat on. And wearing our creative hat, we are going to figure out, okay, how can I calm this person down quickly if it's an agitation because of a concern? So I like to encourage families to use validation techniques, keeping the person, not trying to pull the individual with symptoms of dementia out to our reality. Like, no, we live here now. We sold the house. We don't have the house anymore. And that can distress the person because they think maybe, no, we still have the house. So it's teaching the families to use validation techniques. Like, I can see that you're worried about this, rather than, don't be worried. I can see you're worried, and I don't blame you for being worried, and showing you care, and then using some kind of solution. We're going to look into this. Let me see what I can do, even though there's nothing the family can do because they've moved, but using what I call therapeutic reasoning. So we're reasoning with the person to keep them calm, and we're going to look into it. And then maybe that person feels calm. Oh, good, we're going to look into it. But then the next step should be distracting the person. And so becoming a master of distraction is very important in dementia care. Mastering that. So what are we going to talk about now? All of a sudden, they've calmed down a bit. Now let's talk about horses, or let's go for a walk, or let's watch a program on TV that they really love, or tell them a joke, make them sing, have them sing for you, dance, whatever it might be, to change. And so that's a very important tip, is to be that master of distraction. But all in all, we have to keep the peace.
So you talk about that's part of your toolkit, I guess, is knowing the different ways of distracting. Are there activities maybe that you can also do together to help?
Yes, actually, I was at somebody's home on the weekend visiting the family. They wanted some ideas for their loved one. And I come to realize they did love crafting. And I went into their craft room. They had lots of sort of wrapped rolls of yarn. And so I instructed the family, why don't we just unravel this a little bit, make, if she has other little bits and pieces of unraveled wool, just put it in front of her lap with the TV and have her roll it back up. And it's good for hand dexterity, eye-hand coordination, and it feels good to accomplish something.
Yeah.
Something safe, that's easy
Yes.
to do. So that could be an easy idea. There's many other ideas. Again, it has to be personalized to the person's eyesight, their hearing, their dexterity.
I've heard looking at older pictures sometimes can help
Sometimes, yes.
with memories, or listening to music they used to like.
Oh, for sure, the music,
Yeah?
old-time familiar
Okay.
music, absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes memories, though, we have to be careful with the pictures. Because I have one client who looks at those pictures, loves them, sees her mom and dad, and now is ready to leave, puts on her coat and goes to look for mom and dad. So it might cause extra behaviors that we didn't realize. So we want to be careful. If we're not frustrating them or having them more worried, then what we would do is reduce the trigger.
Right.
If there is a trigger, we have to reduce all triggers.
So then maybe with a new activity, do you just do a little bit just to see?
Start it out.
Rather
yeah.
than...
Yeah. And if it's working, keep going. And that's another
Okay.
big rule. Whatever
Right.
works, you do it.
Got it.
Even though it might be silly or it might be odd, but hey, whatever works to keep a person at peace, because that's your number one goal, please do that.
Yeah, so to reduce the what we call the cognitive or emotional load for the person
Absolutely.
first,
Yes.
and then we find the right strategy to help them and to facilitate the change.
Keep them calm, distract them with something fun that they like, and hopefully your rest of the day as a caregiver, or maybe that hour, whatever it might be, will be at peace for that caregiver to kind of take a breather as well.
Right. I like that, because it's not just keeping the peace for the person who does have the symptoms, it's keeping the peace for the
Everyone.
caregiver. And I like what you said at the beginning was you don't have to do it alone.
No,
And
reach out,
you do
delegate.
need to reach out. Right. You can't give from an empty cup, so you really need to, have the break, have the rest, and
Absolutely, absolutely. We want them to survive that long
Yeah.
journey. And don't do it
Exactly.
alone. Definitely don't do this alone.
Is there any first 3 resources for caregiver can be able to learn and to understand how to best care for themselves? Like we can search online or the books you would recommend.
Oh, there's so many things out there on YouTube nowadays
Yes.
and reels and whatnot. But, their local Alzheimer Society is always a good place to start to see what those resources are. Certainly there is resources that we have at Dementia Solutions. We do have a family support membership. So it's a membership where they get ongoing weekly support, that they can drop in and ask questions, monthly support groups, a variety of them, and videos, content, resources, downloads, tip sheets. We've got all kinds of things within our family support membership. So if people are interested, they can visit our website,
Yes.
dementiasolutions.ca, to learn more. And we have lots of content in our website as well that they can learn from.
And we'll have that resources accompanied to our video, and so people be able to utilize that tools for sure.
Absolutely.
So I think today's major takeaway is that caring for someone with dementia is not about really changing them. It's about changing how we design the right strategy to respond. At the same time, to be aware their need and also their emotion and their dignities, and adopting what Karen mentioned about detecting mindset and the facts, and to really pinpoint the small hint and to really understand what's causing that happen, and then we be able to find the right strategy to really help our loved one.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Karen, for joining us. Hopefully we'll have you back. We can talk about maybe brain health, how to prevent, dementia symptoms down the road.
Yes.
Absolutely. I can talk for
Absolutely.
hours.
Yes.
Well, thank you so
Thank you
much
so much,
again for
Karen.
coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for another step in our journey. And we hope that today's conversation gave you a new look on dementia and the different facets of aging.
Yeah, because remember, aging gracefully isn't just hope. It's a design. And the best time to start that design is today. And let's help each other design the future that fulfill their dignity and grace.
So we're Frank and Karina, and we want you to stay informed, stay empowered, and we will see you at the next episode. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We're happy to welcome a returning guest, Karen Tyrell, founder and CEO of Personalized Dementia, Inc. Thank you, Karen, for joining us once again to share Dementia Survival Guide for Caregivers. Here are your design insights. Because dementia is different for everyone, no two families will have the same experience. The most critical part of your blueprint is building a support network early. Don't wait for a crisis to look for help. Consider professional counseling as well. This isn't just for the patient, but for the caregiver to process the complex emotion and anticipatory grief that come with this diagnosis. To survive the long dementia journey, Karen shared her top 3 tips. As caretakers, remember to take breaks, talk it out, and never stop learning. Using therapeutic reasoning means that you will prioritize the person's emotional safety over being right. Don't argue, don't correct, and above all, stay calm. If you become frustrated, they will mirror that energy. By letting go of the need for facts, you preserve the dignity of the relationship. Let's review the FACTS framework. Examine whether or not the patient has physical discomfort. Ask them questions. Figure out if they have any concerns. Identify if there is a trigger for the behavior. And scan the environment to find anything that might cause the behavior. Once you find the why behind the behavior, it's time to get creative. You want to move from being the detective to being the problem solver. De-escalate the tense moment and distract them. Bring the focus back to a place of comfort and safety. Understanding dementia is about moving from fear to strategy, so you can stay in control of the journey. If you have any questions or topic suggestions, reach out in the comment section or email us at gracefulagingbydesign@gmail.com. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. It'll help us grow and reach more families who need these resources. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.